glorious 4th of July, this lightning of the Pulteneyville Lightning Fleet went in the water as a form of declaration of independence, I suppose, of one lightning sailing family. As usual, there were plenty of people around, as there usually are at Pulteneyville, to help with the chores that were incidental to the occasion. And since this was a beginning family, they needed help. You'll probably recognize Dan Tomlinson over there. That is you, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, that's right.
And here's the momentous occasion when the mast gets stepped for the beginning of the season. There are power boats at Pulteneyville as well as sailboats. And there are always sunfish. This was the day of the first official race of the season, I believe, on the 21st of July. It's the scene that prevailed when people were getting ready to go out for that race. Mrs. Cornwall was busily cleaning up the beach. The Pulteneyville Mariners must have had a particularly big picnic just before that occasion. One of the race markers, I'm not sure which one. And here's Ray Todd sailing along. And here are the big boats. There's Choi Lee, Happy Dragon, and Maury, and Lou Thomas, and Carl Bounds Angeline, of course. I'm not sure but what Angeline was committee boat for that race. And here goes Maury Hotchkiss out with a boatload of sailors who were a lot wetter when they came back than they were when they started out. As I remembered, I believe Maury and Rudy Lerner went out to see how it was, and when they came back soaking wet, nobody else was interested in doing any more sailing that day, except, of course, the sunfish and the skipper of this little catboat. Yeah, that's the Bob Ames kids. They had sense enough to stay in the basin. And Jack Cavalier put his crew to work and sent them up the mast doing some odd jobs, so the day wasn't completely wasted for them. But later in the day, a couple of venturesome souls, Ray Todd and Dan Tomlinson, decided that it was worth a try. And here goes Lightning number 246 with the Tomlinson crew on board. And maybe Dan can tell a little bit about that particular adventure.
It was kind of sloppy going, and this mostly turned out to be an exercise in fouled halyards. Even Indomitable Ray couldn't get his main up on that day. Returned to port.
This was another day. This was the beginning of the race on August 3rd, and these pictures were taken from the committee boat by Ann Todd. boat starting. There's Maury Hotchkiss. Not really sure they were starting. This may be just the traffic milling around before the start. There's Happy Dragon. There, that's obviously a starting flag, so that's the start. Oh yeah, that's John Holtberg's family. There. Jack Cavalier, and out. Angeline. Captain Earl on Walloway. Might be interesting to note that not only did Ann Todd take these pictures, but she made the flags for the chorus that were used all season long. So she contributed mightily. This is that same August 3rd race, this time with shots taken from one of the participating Lightning boats. This is another viewpoint of the milling around before the start. There comes Tomlinson's 246. I've been told it's the indomitable 246, and it was, come to think of it. Getting the ship trimmed. Here's Lou Thomas and his Lightning. Another shot of Lou. Even closer, pipe and all. Happy Dragon and the committee boat. Yeah, Al Rope's Commodore is running the committee boat. There are the Hotchkisses. Happy Dragon again. Lou Thomas. Traffic was getting a little bit thick. There's Paul Pellica and his family on his boat. Carl Baum. 10 minutes to the start. There's always some interesting scenery around if you know where to look. Now, this is the first appearance of Dan Tomlinson's new boat. He wasn't satisfied just to win the races. He had to win them big, so he got a brand new green Lightning, which really swept things clear from then on out. Here's the Hotchkiss's boat. Maury, that is. Then on August 18th, there was another really windy day. It didn't daunt the sunfishers. They kept trying to go out. Most of them did go out, get out eventually. The rowers decided it was the better part of valor to wash the boat, so they came over to the guest dock and washed the boat. Nobody in Lightning Row was doing anything. But I think Ray was having as much fun riding a bulldozer as he usually does on his boat. But this activity really made a noticeable improvement in the driveway over in that area. On September 8th, preparations like these were going on, getting ready for the race, getting the marks out. on September 21 came the great annual Putneyville Clam Bake, the first annual Putneyville Clam Bake. This was Joe Laverty's day, long to be remembered. Joe had been working awfully hard. He needed some refreshment. And in the afternoon, some of the sailors just couldn't stand it any longer, and they sneaked out for a sail. I think it wasn't Earl O'Loughlin's kind of day for sailing, so he motored around quite a bit with a gang of kids dangling their feet in the water. They had themselves a good boat ride under power. Those kids must have had the cleanest feet of anybody in Wayne County by the time they were through. Meanwhile, everyone's busily eating up on shore. Clam bake is going at top speed. Ray Todd busily helping out. Bob Ames. And the pots and pans crew have started to work. Things are beginning to quiet down. Everyone's eating just about as much as they possibly can. John Holtberg's out for a walk to settle his dinner, I guess. Here's Jack Cavalier. He hadn't even got his mast out. I think most of them had got their masts out the week before. Scrubbing the bottom of the boat after he just got his out up on the cradle. Lou Rohr was building himself a brand new cradle. I think he got it made just in time to set the boat down on it. These pictures, incidentally, were taken by Dan Tomlinson in between times when he wasn't helping people with their hauling out jobs, which was most of the time. That is, he was helping most of the time, not in between times. Here comes the Commodore's boat. Al Roach. Cornwall busily helping out. Barbara too. Carl Bound. It's too bad the picture doesn't show, but Carl had the most gaily painted pair of dungarees I've ever seen when he was down there that day. It's the end of the season. Just a few holdouts. Stu Hotchkiss is still there. And I think there was one other sailboat.
peculiar